Everything in the state, nothing outside the state, nothing against the state. That is Italian dictator Benito Mussolini's explanation of fascism. It remains one of the most enduring definitions of modern totalitarianism ever. Now, fascism was originally, enforced by force, and frankly, as you know, there comes a time where force is no longer necessary. Because eventually the people become compliant, the beating stops when the morale improves, and businesses, although independent, become the enforcement arm of that mantra, nothing against the state. The government really doesn't have to enforce anything anymore because, if you stray from the narrative of the state, you get punished by businesses. And in turn, the businesses are looked upon favorably by the all-powerful totalitarianism state. Sound familiar? That's what happened earlier this week to controversial Canadian veteran Jeremy Mackenzie, who was completely debanked from Scotiabank. And the point I made in the video that I did on the topic was that even though Jeremy Mackenzie is facing charges in multiple jurisdictions and was part of a rape joke about Pierre Poilievre's wife, I still think he should be allowed to bank in the same manner that serial killers like Karla Homolka and convicted terrorists like Omar Khadr are still allowed to bank here in Canada. Now, I don't know Jeremy Mackenzie personally, and I don't take his criticisms of me personally either, and I find some of the things he says objectionable. But that doesn't matter. His rights don't hinge on anyone's feelings about him. His rights are his rights. I don't have to like you or agree with you to think that you have human rights here in Canada or to think that you have the same rights as a murderer or a terrorist or a rapist. And my friends know I don't have to like all of their friends to continue to be friends with them still. That actually sounds like a very terrible way to live your life otherwise. That shouldn't be a controversial thought, but it is here in Canada. And it comes from both ends of the political spectrum. What I can say about both sides is that they believe in complete ideological conformity with their own worldview, and there will be no independent thought outside of that. We saw this as much with conservatives who supported Jason Kenney despite his anti-conservative crackdown on churches and pastors, as much as we see it still with progressive liberals who continue to support Justin Trudeau even after his many times doing the very unprogressive thing of donning blackface. But that's really been the story of the last 2 years, hasn't it? Or 3 years, I guess, now. We see this most evidently with the coronavirus, but it's a symptom of society at this point. Everybody loves their echo chamber, and they quickly become the intolerant people they claim to fight. Both sides claim they care about diversity of thought and people being able to make up their own minds and express their own views. But when you do, both sides get mad at you. The hard left and the hard right, they really aren't all that different sometimes. And this goes for businesses too. The woke ones like the aforementioned Scotiabank. You can be a lifelong customer, a good credit risk, pay your bills on time, be so polite to the tellers. And frankly, you can be making your bank a lot of money while they lend out your money to other people for their profit. But don't you dare disagree with them on social issues.
That's an excerpt from my show every night. It's called The Ezra Levant Show. That's me, Ezra Levant. You can see the whole thing behind our paywall. Well, there's a lot of goodies behind there. I do a show every weeknight. My friends Sheila Gunn-Reid and David Menzies and Nat and Kat have their shows too. You get a ton of content for just $8 a month. There's so much in there you won't find anywhere else. Go to rebelnewsplus.com.